Now, when it comes to you and Shad, what's the current status of you two at this point?
We are working through it.
Boyfriend and girlfriend?
Working through it.
Okay. How did you guys first meet?
We first met at a New Year's Eve party. He DM'd me on Instagram and he was like, hey, I'm having a party. You should come through. And I'm like, you know what? I don't got no plans. Might as well. And so I showed up and made things happen. But he kind of he ignored me when I first got there. He was just like, you stand right here. And he had a bunch of Latina exotic females. And I was just like, okay, this what he like. So I was just like, you know what? I don't got time for this. We're going to leave. Me and my homegirls, as 12:30 hit, I think we left right after. And then the next day, he hit me up oh my God, I was so drunk. I didn't even remember seeing you. Let me take you out. And I'm like, I'm good. Because I just felt as a woman, if a man invites you somewhere and doesn't even acknowledge you, then that just shows who he is right off the rip. So I was just like, nah, I'm good. You got one time with me. You fuck it up, it's over. And he hit me up and he saw me do a little rap, a little freestyle on Instagram. And he was like, oh, you do music, that's sexy, that's fire. I got a studio, you should come through, I can help you. And I was like, well, shit, that's dope. Let's do music. If we can't have a relationship, then I'll take the music. And I got to the studio. We did more talking and chilling and vibing and drinking than anything. And then, after that, we were really inseparable. I was always at the studio. And then next thing I know, I woke up his girlfriend.
And just curious, what city was this in when you did the New Year's Eve thing?
It was in Atlanta. This is when he did another Bow Wow challenge and basically said he was at a mansion and he was in the so-so-def building instead of the mansion.
I see. This was that moment.
Yes.
Okay, I understand the visual you painted, the description you painted the first time you met him, but. I mean, they use this phrase, so I'm just going to say, was it love at first sight or no?
It was not love at first sight.
Not love at first sight.
He was actually not on my radar. I was in my own thing. I'm a free spirit. I ain't gonna lie, I had some ballers on the list. I was looking at the ballers and the shot callers. I was like, ew. So when he hit me up, I was just like, shoot, it's just a party. I'll go and have fun. But it wasn't love at first sight. I think me talking to him and actually hearing where his mind was is what made me attracted to him.
I see. The first time you were in the studio with him, was there any music made between you two, or was it just the getting to know each other stage, maybe listening to music but not physically working on anything specific?
We physically did not work on any music. He let me listen to a couple of his songs. We talked about what type of music I like, what type of music that I want to do. Basically getting to know each other, the fundamentals of getting to know somebody, I guess, where you from, how you get here, that type of thing. And we were smoking hookah and drinking and just vibing.
Now, how long do you think it was from the time you first met him, you do the studio thing, before it was girlfriend-boyfriend status?
Approximately. So, the New Year's Eve party was the 31st.
Of December.
He asked me out around the 3rd. So I think I went to the studio around the 3rd. And then after that, it was a grown-up hip-hop event on the 6th or the 7th. I think maybe the 9th. I think it was the 9th. And when that video was on social media, we were in a relationship. His caption was girlfriend and boyfriend. And I think with social media, once it hit the blogs, it was kind of shit. I woke up what the fuck? I don't know what to do. It's a relationship now because all of my hoes have been cut off and I don't even have any say so in it because I'm okay, I didn't tell Fetty that I was talking to Shad. I didn't tell my other guys that I was talking to him or even trying to get to know him. So it just came out of nowhere. And I was just like, well, this is going to be kind of hard to explain. I'm just not going to explain it. I'm just going to roll with it. So maybe like within 4 to 7 days, we were in a relationship.
That's fast.
Very much so.
Okay, so you did mention Fetty Wap in this segment. There's a previous segment where you explained that relationship, friendship situation now, and kind of broke the details down about that. So we're not going to really talk about we're not going to really talk about that in this segment. People can look that up and find that information out. But you are forced into it in a sense, but sometimes when people are forced into something, overwhelmed by something, they can get caught up in the moment, that sort of thing. But then there's a point where somebody can snap out of that.
Right.
When you do snap out of that, what happens then?
For me, I think when I say that it all moved fast and I didn't have really a choice, it's not like I didn't have a choice, because I did. But at the same time, I mean, like, we didn't have the time to actually get to really, really know each other without it being on social media. It just started going fast. And then I think once the attention picked up, it was just like, yeah, this is bae. And now we're like relationship goals and we're all over the blogs. And so we had to keep that going without actually, I didn't want us to go public, because as a woman, we get judged on a lot of things. And having guys that you can be like, she talked to this dude and she talked to this dude, like, that's a guy who's permanently going to be on my chart that people can look up and see. And I really wasn't sure if he was going to make it. I thought we were just fucking around. We weren't going steady. So I was like, shit, okay. But I guess, you snap out of it when real shit happens. When real shit happens and you think that you know somebody, you kind of have to step back and be like, hold on. We need to focus on the fundamentals of getting to know each other, because you don't know what I like. I don't know what you like. We need to learn these things.
But you, I guess so, more or less, you were using that in this discussion as a figure of speech. But you could have walked away at any given point. You could have said, hey, Shad, just go on social media and said, I'm just joking, or we're being sarcastic.
Of course. But a part of me, like, had already got a connection with him. So it was like, I wasn't afraid to be in a relationship. It just happened so fast that I didn't have a chance to cut off my hose. Sorry to my hose, by the way. But but I didn't have a time to explain myself. And so that was what I was saying, like, damn, okay, I'm getting into something. I don't know if it's going to be longevity in it. And so I'm always scared about giving my heart to somebody. So in that aspect, I was kind of scared, but I did want to see what was on the other side of that door, because he genuinely is a good-hearted person when he wants to be.
When you say you want to see what's on the other side of the door, somebody may take that and say, this may be a clouding opportunity. This may be a gold-digging opportunity, for lack of a better phrase there. How do you respond to something like that?
It's definitely not a gold-digging situation. Like, I don't ask that man for anything. Like, everything that he does for me is purely out of the kindness of his heart. Like, when he first met me, he was just like, what kind of bags do you like? And I was just like, I don't really carry bags. I'm a book bag girl. I'm from North Carolina, so being materialistic is not really in me. I like to look good, but I don't have to have like thousands of dollars worth of stuff. I would rather him invest in my future or something like that. So he loved that about me, like not being needy in that aspect. And so I was just like, if you think I'm gold digging, it's just like I had plenty. Like, if you use your noodle and you think, if he's in my DM, if he's talking to me, how many other guys with a check you know, with a check, new money, old money, everything. How many of those guys were in my DMs? Because there were a lot. And I chose Shad because he seemed more steady to me. Like he was not in the limelight and out of the bullshit per se with women. I've never seen him in anything other than when he falls out with his woman. So I know that he doesn't have a problem committing.
I see. What happened when it came to a point in the relationship when people meet each other's parents?
I met his mother at a grown-up hip-hop event, and it was just like very bland. It wasn't like, not to say that she was bland, the general situation was bland. It was at a grown-up hip-hop event, and she didn't know me from a can of paint. I didn't know her, and I was just like, hey, how are you? And to be fair, you know, she's probably seen a lot of girls come through her son's life, and she's probably like, oh, this is a pretty girl. I mean, how long will she stay around? But my mom was just like, why him? Like, she was just like, are you sure that you want to date Lil Bow Wow? And I'm like, I think I want to get to know him because, you know, I done got my heart broken by these ball players and shit. I'm done. Like, I'm like on some K. Michelle, fuck these niggas. But when he met my mom, it was cool. We actually went out on vacation together. They got along really well. As far as his mom, I don't feel like we have to entertain each other's parents. I'm not here to make your mama happy. You're not here to make my mama happy. As long as you make me happy, that's it. I ain't trying to do all the other shit.
Sometimes, though, family does get in the way. Family does get into decision-making elements. So,
Facts.
Just curious how that worked. Now, you guys both are in the music industry. Is there ever a conflict of interest there?
Only when we're talking about like video girls and that type of thing, or like how I want to lay a song. He's used to going in and like freestyling and just getting it together, and I'm more so of a thinker. I like to think about what I'm writing because I've been doing this for a few years, but he's been doing it forever. So he's got it down packed and I'm just learning it. So I'm like, I can't go in the studio and just lay shit down like you can. So you have to give me time. And he's just like not used to waiting. So we clash about that. And then I like ratchet, but I like the new Atlanta. And he's more so like, that's gonna pass. That's not like the thing that's gonna last. You need to get into like real rap. And I rap for real too, but I just like the ratchet shit.
Does it ever get competitive between you two?
He's very cocky. Like, he's very, 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 very fucking cocky. And I think sometimes that's competitive because he's like a know-it-all. Like, I know this and I've been doing this for this long. So it can get competitive, but at the same time, I feel like we're in two different lanes. I'm a man, he's a woman. Like, it's nothing to compete about as far as, like, musically, because we're talking about two different things.
You guys have made music together.
Yes, we've made a song called Relationship Goals, and I've worked with him on like a couple of my tracks. Like him and his producer have helped me like with the song and the beat. The beat.
Was there pressure on making that song?
Relationship Goals?
Yeah.
No pressure at all. Like, we actually just said we just want to do a song together, and then he played the beat, and I was just like, oh, okay, I like this. And he had laid down his verse first, of course, because he's a freestyler. He goes in and just lays it down. And I was listening to it, vibing, and I'm like, okay, I know what I want to say. And I thought about it for, 30 minutes to an hour, and then I laid down my verse. No pressure.
Is there pressure from fans?
As far as what?
Having a relationship like this that's public.
there's a lot of pressure from fans in that aspect of my relationship because, because they want me to be perfect, I feel like, and I'm not perfect. Like in reality, off of Lil Bow Wow, outside of Lil Bow Wow, when he gets off social media, when he gets off that stage, he's a real human being who eats shits and pisses like everybody else, just like I am. So I think that people are so used to seeing him as Lil Bow Wow that when they see me in my natural state on Instagram, because I'm more so of myself on Instagram, so they're like, she's ratchet, or she ghetto, why he pick her, or his baby mama is classier, or his ex-girlfriend looks better. Like, that doesn't bother me. I just feel like, why are you comparing me? People don't think like, how would I feel if some girl came to my page and said this about me and my man? They don't put themselves in the situations that they attack other people for. So it's a lot of pressure.
Has there been times where you wanted to call it quits, or he wanted to call it, I don't know, vice versa, and maybe pressure of fans or pressure of media is to stay in it longer than maybe you want to?
I feel like that's definitely always considered, like when we have falling outs and stuff, because we've had a few fights, and I mean, you know, they haven't broke the internet or anything like that. You'll see that on Growing Up Hip Hop, but you know, we didn't know how to break up because there's so much pressure on when we first got together. Like, oh, that shit ain't gonna last. It's fake. That's a Bow Wow challenge. It ain't gonna last but 2 months. And so I think we were in the process of always trying to prove people wrong, that, you know, we were not trying to get to know each other, but actually just hold some shit together. But there were times like when we fought, and I was just like, you know what? Oh, I can't stand his ass. We're done. And I'm like, I can't unfollow him on Instagram though, because if I unfollow him, it's gonna make the blogs and they're gonna talk about us. So it is pressure. It makes decision making harder.
I imagine there's probably also pressure since you're part of a show.
Mm-hmm. A lot.
A reality television show, and a show that is recorded before it comes out.
Definitely. The pressure with that is just like with Shad, sometimes when he gets upset or when he's angry, he likes to be an Indian giver and or like say, oh, I made you and I can take all of this away. And that to me is hurtful because, you know, I feel like he listens to what I care about the most and then tries to take that from me, as far as like, you know, when we had a few falling outs, he would talk about taking music back or not releasing music. And that was hurtful because, you know, I've worked on the music and I've been waiting to put out music for over a year, but I've been waiting on you, my boyfriend, because you told me a better way to bring it out. And so now when you want to take it, it's just like, well, damn, do I just go ahead and put my own music out or wait for us to get back good? And then, you know, so it's a lot of pressure. And then as far as the show, he's like an EP and a main cast member who's been on the show for a long time. And that show, I don't know if you've watched it, but it's predominantly about him and his life. So, you know, when he's angry, it's just like, okay, well, I don't want her on the show with me anymore. And they're kind of like trying to figure out, okay, well, how do we make this go with this?
How do you get through it?
A lot of prayer, a lot of like woo-sawing, having family. Like having family around is like the most important thing, because I feel like your family can help you get through anything. And just feeling like, you know, at the end of the day, whatever will be, will be. And I can't stop anything that my higher power has in store for me. So if one door closes, another one will open. So I have to be conscious of that as well, because sometimes we like to hold on to things and God has a different outcome for you or something better. So I just always keep that mindset. Like if me and Shad are meant to be, we're meant to be. And if we don't, you know, if we're not meant for each other, that will be what it will be. And I'll just have to go through the motions to find that out.